in the bottom left. Upper left. Yeah, bottom left. There we go. On inside now, T is Dolan. And in the upper right, in the red for Team Liquid, that's Mana. Mana. Here's the question, though. Bread feeds the duck. Talk about watching craft with your spaghetti. Is it a craft dinner? And more importantly, if craft dinner is the center point, is the centerpiece of your meal, is that the star? Is the craft dinner the star? Is it a star craft dinner? That's the question. And I know by the way, craft dinner is what they call Kraft mac and cheese is in Canada, if you're not a Canadian. I'm not, but we know these things because, you know, we live close enough. And that was a stretch. That was so much of a stretch that I actually need to stretch for real. Oh, there we go. Hey, Zane, how's it going? Looking forward to see. I did not sign up for DreamHack because I would just get stomped out. And I do not have the time to even maintain the lowest level of form. It's very sad. But looking forward to seeing you at DreamHack. What do we have from Mana? Hey, Silid. And thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub as well. I appreciate it. What do we got coming in from Dolan here? And for right now, it's actually nothing crazy. Dolan does have this reputation for these Dolan builds, these crazy, all over the place SCV pulls and proxies and all the other things. And Blue Air Critic, thanks so much. 4 months in a row. You got the Warhorn. There we go. How strong is I at my strongest best form? About 4,500. 4,490, something like that. But that was fairly recently. And I was trending upwards. it's not fairly recently at this point because PhD happened, but I was still trending upwards. So like right at the edge of M2. But then, you know, PhD got picked up in earnest, all this casting stuff picked up in earnest, and I have time to play a little bit, but, you know, not enough to be any good. But the Marines now, they're going to pop up on the map here. They're going to find this Adept, and that's going to force it out for the moment. But look at what we got here from Dolan. That's a second barracks on the way, and a third one as well. So, well, I was about to spend some storyline about how he's doing something that's a little, you know, 6-minute stim, 2-1-1. No. It's a 3 racks. And Mana should be very well aware of this because his teammate, Clem, loves these builds. Again, Devin the Dude, we've discussed this. Bayo fast or nothing. Anyways, though, stim and combat shields are on the way. And Dolan, he's just building up for one big push. But again, if there's any Protoss in Europe that is going to defend against this just from intrinsic properties, it will be Mana. Because again, Clem loves this build. He kills a lot of Protoss with this build. So as they practice against each other, it makes sense that Mana would be well aware of what this looks like and how to defend it appropriately. He does have Blink on the way. His Robo is finishing up. No third base just yet. And I mean, he's getting himself set up for it, right, with that pylon, but he doesn't have it just yet. And with the Robo down, he's going to add a couple additional gateways. Dolan, I don't know that Dolan's even going to be able to punch into Mana's natural because, again, Mana has a semi-wall set up. And with a shield battery overcharge to keep everything safe, Dolan, I think, is going to have to give up on this idea of hitting across the map with the 3 racks by itself. But of course, as Bjorn and Clem and whatever has taught us, the goal this is pretty transitionable. Your upgrades are a little bit slower, but you can turn this into a 3-1-1 fairly simply. Pat Nolan Rayner is not playing at DreamHack Atlanta. He has said that he's declined the invitation due to personal life stuff. So we had Cyril do that at Valencia, and now Rayner's doing it at it's only to be fair, because Rayner and Cyril in the same tournament means it's the CVC finals. Anyways, Bio on the other side of the map, but there is Blink done, so the Stalkers right now just trying to occupy every single possible choke, and the Marauders, they make that a little bit harder, but this Adept, it's dealt with for right now, but it did cause a little bit of consternation for Dolan. Now Stalkers, they blink behind their wall, and that's going to be a dead gateway, but This is just buying time for the shield battery to complete. Shield battery overcharge is going to get popped, but popped goes down immediately. But probes get pulled. 9 workers will fall. But that seems to be the end of it. A couple stalkers look like they will go down, but as the marauders are all dead, well, this will be the end of the extent of the aggression. 9 probes have died, 2 shield batteries, and a gateway, and a couple stalkers. Honestly, a little bit more than I expected out of the pressure once Mana kind of had an idea of what was happening. But look at this. We got disruptors on the way. And yes, it's off for 3 bases, but disruptors before Colossus is not something that you see all that often. Now, do we have a star? We do have a starport. Okay, medevacs are here. But this is a 5-rax, by the way. Coming in behind this, 2 additional barracks are on the way. No 3rd base. Dolan is going for the next round of his aggression. He does not want this to go into the mid and late game against Mana. And if you're just looking to stall out the push, disruptors from odd angles with a warp prism can be a fantastic way of making that happen. Yeah, I'm a little sad Devin the dude because, you know, I'm not going to say I'm friends with Rainer necessarily, but, you know, I've been chatting with him a little bit. Was looking forward to meeting him and a bunch of other people. I've been to 1 offline StarCraft tournament. That was Red Bull Battlegrounds DC back in 2014, which I think a lot of people will agree is the stalker was blink onto the high ground, but there's a tank there, so it's really hard for them to get too much done. As that's a stalker. I think a lot of people will agree. Is that just wait. Disruptor just got 9 kills. We're talking about the random disruptor in the middle map to stall out any type of pressure. Well, that does it. Well done there. Mana's gonna be very happy with that trade. But anyway, so yeah, with Red Bull Battlegrounds DC, I think a lot of people will say this is probably one of the top 5 tournaments that has ever happened. And I was lucky enough to be at that one, but that was when I was a senior in high school. Yeah, follow my senior year of high school as that will be a dead medevac. And I met Day 9, I met Tempo like in the signing line, but you know, that's not really a thing. I wasn't a member, I wasn't a part of the StarCraft community. I mean, you're part of the but I wasn't a part of the, I don't know, StarCraft talent community, whatever you want to say at that point. The stalkers now, they're going to run forward and they're going to find this army. And I mean, with 2 tanks, a lot of marauders, Mana needs to buy a little time. His charge is not done. His Colossus, well, they're on the way. Does he have another disruptor, though? That's the big question, and it's a question I don't really have an answer to just yet. So here now comes Dolan once again. The tanks are going to try to siege their way up, but that's just a dead medevac immediately. And this disruptor as well, doing a really good job of forcing Dolan back. And remember, Dolan is all in off this. He does not have a 3rd base. In fact, did he pull the... No, he didn't pull the boys. Not yet. But he's adding the Vikings in. Mana, though, setting up the flank here. Does he have what he needs? That's the real question. Couple shield batteries and Colossus from the high ground, or Colossus from afar. Seems like that's going to be enough, but as I say that, the Colossus is dead, and, well, talking about it from afar, Extended Thermal Lance is not ready just yet. Concave is rather nice, though Disruptor is not finding what it wants, and Mana comes in from the backside. Zealots on top of everything. They got to get these tanks down. They're causing so many problems trying to target down the Colossus, but there we go. 1 tank. All that remains, in fact, the tank is now going to go down here. Stalker's not even bothering to blink backwards, but that's a dead Archon. Mana's army, though, not super impressive, and we're going to see, there we go, a Disruptor fall, but it seems like this last Colossus is going to be enough to break everything down as the army is so damn low. And with the shield batteries there keeping it alive for the most part, that seems like it will be enough. Weird. I got pinged in a Discord, and it wasn't there. Anyways, Mana seems like he's really locked down inside and out here to start this point. He's got his 4th base on the way. Dolan is still trying to make something happen. But Dolan actually does have his third base on the way now, but it's 10 minutes in, 10 and a half minutes in. Make no mistake about it, folks. Yes, Dolan is getting a third command center, but he does have to get something done with this army. He cannot just kind of sit here and hope and dream, because there are no hopes and dreams. He's an insomniac. And these zealots as well, they're not going to get all... I mean, they're going to get a tank, I think, but no, they're not even going to get that one. Nice pickup, nice drop down. One thing we got to talk about, though, zealots are starting to look really good as just a main army composition at this point. This is very Marauder heavy. And Marauders, they do, you know, pretty well against Colossus. Colossus do not do bonus damage against them. And Marauders, while they no longer share range with unupgraded Colossus, they certainly get close enough. They can stim on top of that. They do great against Stalkers, but Marauders fight slow enough against all the Zealots, and Zealots as beefy as they are, that Zealots actually kill Marauders fairly nicely. Of course, there's just the fact that Mana his economy is miles and miles ahead, but his upgrades, they're not. Dolan has 1-1. It's 11:30 in. Mana adding that second forge just now is +1, only halfway done. So yes, Mana economy, incredible. Army tech, very nice. But maybe, just maybe, Dolan can make it happen with just the bulk of this army. But even then, the supply is not hitting that point where Dolan's up 30 army supply and he can make something happen. And Mana's starting to realize that he is in a wonderful position into this game. He can start to move forward through that choke, but that's still a scary position to attack through. So finding another angle, maybe knocking the rocks down. We're going to have to see exactly what he wants to go for. But for now, he has revealed Dolan positions a little bit further forward. Just a little bit. And Mana will have his upgrades rather soon. Hey, Big Shrimp 44, welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, glad you're enjoying things. Now Dolan moving down the map. Mana forced to back up a little bit. Give way. But he does have a large clump of what I believe are Zealots on the left side of the map, ready for a surround, ready for a flank, and that is exactly what Mana is doing. Keep your eyes. Disruptor shots, they're going to go out. They're not going to hit anything, and instead, Mana, I thought this was going to be for a flank. No, it's just going to be for a counterattack, forcing Dolan back home. Disruptor shot again does not land. The reinforcements of Dolan not there, and Dolan trying to get on top of these disruptors. He's going to get 1, 2, 3 of them down immediately, and that should force Mana to give this base up. Now, luckily, Mana does have another base where that came from, but this is going to be about 30 dead probes, 22 dead probes. But there is certainly damage on the other side of the map. A 7 SCV is starting to go down, and Mana, despite the damage he's taken, he still has himself a pretty decent supply lead here, worker supply at the very least. So the Colossus from the other high ground started to shell away, but the tank count here, what is that, 4 or 5 tanks? It almost insta-gives the Colossus, but the Zealots in the net, 37, 39 SCVs have gone down. Now the Disruptors will not find the value that they're looking for, but Mana right now, he only needs to hold on at this point. His economy, it exists. Dolan's, it really doesn't. So the orbital has been lifted. The third base is going to be able to drop mules on it, sure. And we are starting to run out of robos. They're going down. Mana, though, how does he pull the trigger here? Stalkers, they got to blink on the low ground, maybe, but the tank positioning is really difficult for Mana to deal with. Even still, the Zealots, they're getting on top of the Colossus. They're getting fired upon. It feels like Mana, I don't know that he is enough here anymore. The probes have to get pulled to try to keep him alive. This is the last army of Dolan, but is the last army of Dolan going to be enough? Well, looks like the answer is in fact no. The Immortals there on the ground against what is a majority Marauder army is going to force Dolan back home. Meanwhile, these Zealots, they got so much done. 12 SCVs, all that remain on the map at this point, and Dolan's got to back up. He's got to try again. And he does have triple mules, so that is always an opportunity, and it seems like Mana is building a couple Archons, which are certain things that if Dolan can afford the Ghost, he does have the Ghost tech for it. But of course, Mana, he's on 50 probes, rebuilding those robos. He has, I mean, we're talking about this game just a lot about tech, but Mana can build an army that Dolan can deal with. In fact, I don't even, you want to build the Robo Bay eventually, but if Mana just chronos out Immortals at this point with how many Marauders there, well, actually, I don't know how many Marauders in the army anymore, but with how many Marauders in the army that there were, just building a bunch of Immortals seems like a really nice play. But for right now, Dolan moves in once again. He's up about 10 army supply. Upgrades, though, no longer in the good. Mana has been able to get his own 1-1 as Dolan trying to section this army out halfway. Stims up the ramp, drops an EMP. and then moves to the right side. He doesn't really know which side he wants to attack into right now, but now he's going to pull the trigger, and the Zealots, they're the ones that are going to run in. Stalkers blink onto the left side. Probe's going to get pulled because Mana understands if he wins this fight, he wins the game. The Zealots are beefy as hell in this army of Dolan. The tanks are not yet sieged. He's just got to run away. The tank's sieged up, but it goes down. And, well, the probes are in this army kind of. They're actually, it's like one or two of them. The rest of them just kind of sitting there outside of what was once Mana's third base, and that should be enough to do it, folks. Dolan, he had absolutely had opportunities. He almost made it happen, but at this point, the Archons, they're getting juicy shots. The Stalkers, they blink forward, and there is not enough for Dolan anymore. Mana, he takes game one. In the bottom right, folks, in the blue, down one with shots, it is Dolan. In the upper left, in the red, he's up one game. He held on by his fingernails. It's Mana. And yes, Big Shrimp, Clem plays after this. It'll be Clem, PattyMac, and then the final series is Vindicta and... No, sorry. That doesn't sound right. You know, PattyMac, Clem, and then it will be Vindicta versus Elazer for the final series. I had it right, and I was wrong, but I had it right again. For some reason, I didn't think that... I didn't think Elazer was playing third. Or whatever, or I didn't think Elazer played Vindicta for whatever reason. Dolan, he's got a little bit more aggression on the mind in this game too. Moondance, of course, 30-second rush distance is the fastest, the shortest map in the pool. And Dolan, Barracks double gas factory. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be doing something with the Barracks units super early, but it does unlock a lot of opportunities, whether this is Cloaked Widow Mines, whether this is Hellion drops, whatever it is. Oh, Big Shrimp, Dolan's playing right now, so are you not here for that, Terran? There comes the factory here. And by the way, the probe's in the main base, so Dolan, he will have to spend a little extra time in the main, making sure that the Reaper kills the... Oh... Making sure that the Reaper kills the probe. And this pylon, it's not as obnoxious as if it was in the wall, preventing an add-on from going down, but it does mean that the barracks is going to have to, or the factory, excuse me, is going to have to lift and drop somewhere else, and then it's going to provide a full scout, and Reapers do not kill pylons, so was that no, it was not canceled. And Dolan's got a second Reaper on the way. From 1 to 3 Reapers, you get actually significant returns. 1 Reaper kills a probe in 6 shots. 2 Reapers kill it in 3. 3 Reapers kill it in 2. But 4 and 5, they don't do all that much for you. It's like, oh wow, you still kill it in 2. Then you get to 6 and you do it in 1. So that may be something that we that Vindicta has in store for us. Just a little bit. The whole, not Vindicta. That Dolan has in store for us and tries to get a lot of pressure on his opponent with Reaper play. But it's only going to be 2 Reapers. He's built a Hellion. It seems like that'll do it for the most part. His natural is on the way. The Reapers dive in the main base. So are they going to get anything? They're going to get a probe, but they're going to lose their life, at least one of their lives. So, well, actually, Mana's made a mistake here. So he's going to get a second probe. And, great use the KDA charge. We'll bring the Adept back into the fray. But Reaper gets out. Mana probably should have done a little bit more to that. So 3 probes will fall. Not bad. Mana has something fun, something new, something wild and zany and crazy on the mind. Seems like Dark Templar are going to be the name of the game as we see a Dark Shrine and a Gateway go down on the bottom right side as the probe is going to go down here. So Dolan's gotten 4 probes with this Reaper Hellion aggression. And that is something. PattyMac, I am going to Atlanta. I will see you there, I assume. Yeah, I will, because I saw you in the bracket. Thanks. So Charizard DT, Charizard Archon. Gonna be the name of the game for Mana in this game number 2. Will Dolan sniff it out? Will Dolan be aware of it? Yeah, I'm very excited, PattyMac. Pig, Steadfast, Cats, and I, of the people who have, like, at least been on the mainstream, we'll all be there. I know Chicken Man's gonna be there. Cobra Venom of Pylon Show editor, ASL editor, he's going to be there. Nish is going to be there, who's done the StarCraft Observer. A bunch of people. Anyways, Dark Shrine now just about done. Here come the DTs. Again, charge is following pretty soon after this. So let's see what exactly is going to happen. Oh, I like this play actually. Depth's gonna shade into the natural. Friendly Fire is getting 3 SCVs. Do we wait? Okay, there's the one scan. One DT is gonna be able to get out though, and I don't know that there's a second one. 20 seconds remain. Yeah, exactly. Dolan, while the scan is still keeping him safe, he's just abandoned the natural. He does not have the scans for this, and does he even have a? Oh, he keeps. Oh. He doesn't close the wall in time, so now there's the DT in the main base. An invisible man in your home, knocking down all your SCVs, and that is a scary position to be in. 3-4 workers will go down. Scan is in about 10 seconds now, but the DT is getting so much damage done here. There we go. Sorry, counted wrong. 5 seconds. 5 SCVs will go down. Another DT joins the fray. More gateways on the way. Immortal getting added in. It's going to be Charged Light Immortal Archon, I think, is going to be the name of the game here as DT in the natural finds yet more. And a DT's allowed in? No, it's not. Okay. The main base, Fortress Dolan. Yeah, you know, Big Shrimp, that's not as much on my list of people I want to hang out with. DTs, though, they find their way into the natural on 2 sides, and there's a missile turret going down, but it is the slow creep of missile turret. Right? It's very hard to cover the backside of the base. Scans are not where they need to be just yet. So the DTs, they kill, what was that, 10 SCVs. They kill a lot of missile turrets. Or they force a lot of missile turrets. But here comes the boys. And Dolan, on the understanding maybe that his opponent doesn't have a massive amount of army, on the understanding that he's taking a lot of damage, instead of trying to go back and mine and do crazy things like that, no, he's going across the map here. With bio, with tanks, with cyclones, and a bunch of SCVs to try to keep everything safe. But the DTs have been recalled home, Archons are on the way, and charge is already done. I don't know that this is going to be able to get the damage done the Dolan once, but he's going to try to go for it right now. Trigger is getting pulled, but he's outside of shield battery overcharge range. Even still, all the SCVs, they're now dead. Now Mana can come to terms with the army as the Immortals, the Archons. Well, actually, that's one Archon stuck a little bit behind, but it's getting juicy shots, and this is just not going to do it. Dolan has to tap out. The Invisible Man too strong, and again, that's going to do a Mana with the Selly. In the upper right, folks, in the red, he is the GM. It's PattyMac. And in the upper left, excuse me, in the red, for Team Liquid, the Little Corporal, it's Clem. Oh man, I feel so bad though. So I've been following the CS major because really just for the crowd at this point. And Furia has had the storyline. It's the one Brazilian team left. They made top 4. The crowd has been going bonkers, and they just lost. They got dominated on map 3, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how big the crowd is tomorrow. But yes, those graphs that they make, that is the relative power hexagons. I don't think there was a thread for it this season, but last season, TLNet had a thread with all the power hexagons for all the players. It's kind of unfortunate because, well, the power hexagons aren't unfortunate, but the power hexagons out of 10, but there are 4 more rankings because, of course, you're out of 100, so they need 4 more, and one of those is career earnings. And you have these players who are very good, who are playing very well and have won tournaments, but because Maru is playing in the WTL, and ooh, they're making the serfs fight. The plebeians have to fight against each other. But anyway, because Maru has won over $1 million. Everyone's like career earnings are like 210, and you just have Maru at 10. So it's the existence of Maru is deflating everyone's career earnings stat, and it's dropping them by about 3 or 4 points on their relative rankings. No, Big Shrimp, that's the English broadcast. Counter-Strike in general has had like over 1.1 million viewers for both the Na'vi Furious series and this series. But Stalker, or excuse me, Reaper finds its way into the main base of PattyMac, and might I say, that's a mighty fine hand you got there, PattyMac. But he's, oh, that's a great balance, but even still, oh, he's gonna get the probe. He's gonna get the probe. Clem gets, he's not gonna get a third. No way. No, he gets 3. That's not supposed to happen there. PattyMac. PattyMac, what is you doing, boo? That's not acceptable. See, at this point, while I enjoy casting StarCraft, right now I'm not even casting. I'm just taking the opportunity because PattyMac is in chat and this is his game. We just get to flame PattyMac for the entire time. No, you just you're hiding strats for Valencia. Or for Atlanta. You're hiding strats for Montreal next year. Is what's gonna happen. Although, not gonna lie, I'm so sad that this tournament is in Atlanta and not Montreal, because Montreal is like a 3-hour, no, hour. It's like a 2-hour drive from where I live. It's a day. It's almost doable as a day trip. And Montreal as a city is super cool. So, meanwhile, you know, if I wanted to drive down to Atlanta, it would be a multi-day road trip and kind of suck. So I have to, and there are no airports near me. So anyways, Reaper and Hellion are going to dive into the natural. They're going to find a couple probes lined up here. They're going to get 1. They're going to get 2. They're going to get 3. They're going to get maybe 4. Maybe 4. Can we see 4? No, the answer is no, not for the moment. Reaper in the main base, though. Nothing was wounded from earlier, so nothing to snaffle on up. And PattyMac will stay alive, but he has lost 6 workers. Surely early game harassment, and that's unacceptable, PattyMac. Do better, please. Well, Razorbeam, that's what it traditionally has been. There's been a European... DreamHack Montreal has been the American DreamHack for the last couple years. But the Olympic Stadium in Montreal is closed for renovations, so that was why it wasn't going to be happening last year or this year. I'm northern states, remember? Remember, Devin, you canvassing in Toronto to get people to vote for BO 2020 or whatever you're doing? It doesn't matter because I'm not a Canadian citizen. And even then, are there elections in 2020 in Canada? Or is that just, I don't know how the, I'm not familiar with the election cycle of Canada. But okay, Clem, he already has his 3rd base down on location, 5 minutes in. Stim combat shields are still very fast in this game. Clem has been cutting all types of corners, but he got 6 workers early. I'm sorry, I had myself convinced Clem was blue. PattyMac has the 3rd base on location. Clem's only on 2 bases, and Stim combat shield are on the way. But PattyMac is at least ready for this, at least trying to get ready for this. He's got 5 gateways on the way, charge halfway done. In fact, seems like he may want to get aggressive on his own. He's got a Warp Prism on the map or on production, and he can do 2 things with this. You can actually choose to get aggressive, but what we see a lot of good Protoss players do is that when the Terran gets aggressive, they have a Warp Prism sitting in the corner, and they drop 4, 8, some number of Zealots in their opponent's main, and then it forces the Terran to either go all in into a rather beefy defensive setup, or they have to go back home, and it's a lose-lose scenario. And it seems like the latter will be what PattyMac opts to go for in this game, and we're just gonna have to see what Clem has in store for us. By the way, this is gonna be your roughly standard, yeah, right? Stim combat shield +1, 730 timing off a 311, and 3rd base on the way behind that. But PattyMac, oh, it's a bit interesting. He may even cancel these gases after the scan's done. Yep, yeah, he does. Okay, there we go. So he drops, when the scan gets dropped, he takes the gases on the 3rd, trying to convince Clem that this is some sort of Colossus play, maybe some very tech-heavy play, because that implies that their gas is the natural. But PattyMac just has a ton of gateways and a ton of Zealots, and he's going to flood Clem right in his face. Zealots getting on top of everything here. Stalk's got to target the medevacs down, but they're not going to do so. Not just yet. The tanks, though, they're still staying alive for the most part. The Zealots are shredding everything. They're going to get both tanks. The medevac down here as well. PattyMac on the ambush. And you don't run away from this army. Not really. Meanwhile, Zealots in the main base, they kill 13 workers, and PattyMac is absolutely shredding Clem in this game. Number 1, Widowmine's trying to keep things safe, but now 5 more Zealots. They're going to warp in, and Clem has nothing whatsoever. I take it back. Clem only won 6-0, not 7-0, apparently. But That was a very cool. That was some top tier mind games there from PattyMac. Sorry, this is pretty good. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue. He's up 1 on Clem. It's PattyMac. Have a good night there, Blue Hair Critic. Thanks for joining me this evening. Enjoy your ramen. And the upper right in the red. Down 1. It's Clem. Desplancito. Clement de Plan. And I understand that that is woeful mispronunciation of Clem's name, but you know what? I'm not a francophone, so it's fine. All right, so what do we see game 2? PattyMac, he's actually he plays some very interesting games in general. We against that Scarlet series, he went 3-gate Glaive's Robolist into an expand and 2 double Stargate, which worked really, really well. PattyMac just gonna go up to Clem. You're like, hey, you remember that game in WTL? I mean, doesn't even matter what happened in game 2. Yeah, actually, so PattyMac, I'm a little upset. Not upset necessarily, but with the lack of casters and any sort of crowd setup in Atlanta, I was trying to see if I could set up some sort of a DreamHack After Dark setup, where after the end of the broadcast day, I get Pig and Cats and Steadfast and whoever else, and we get a bar set up, and I set up a camera and some lights, and we get some audio equipment, and just do what they did for TI. But the problem is, I have no idea when the games are going to get done, so reserving any time or booking space is going to be really hard. And then with DreamHack setups, normally, the games end after midnight. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think it's going to happen. I wish it could. I just didn't find a way to make it happen logistically on my own in a realistic fashion. The question, though, is whether I can get invited to the after party. Because I'm not official talent. But I do have a press pass. So that's going to be fun. Going around doing player interviews, asking hard-hitting questions about RTS design, and also what their favorite puppy is, because that is also important information. But PattyMac, he's got a Twilight on the ways. Clem, well, we talked about how Mana should be able to defend against the 3-backs fairly easily. Well, Clem is going for something, not that it is a 3x, but he is going for a second barracks at the very least. As he built his command center on the high ground, we're going to have to see how much this fakes out PattyMac for the moment, but there is 1 barracks. Second one on the way. And these adepts for right now, they're going to try to, they're going to get in the main base. They're going to get a full scout on things. That is fantastic. They're not going to be able to kill much of anything, but actually, that adept gets out. But they see the second barracks. They see the command center. They see the factory. PattyMac has every bit of understanding about what his opponent is doing at this point. Is now Clem trying to get onto the probe line once again, get as much damage as he got in game number 1. He's going to get 1. That should be the extent. He can get this adept maybe, but no, back into the high ground. He will go ring around the rosy indeed. And you're going to get a second probe? No. Good pull there, and there we go. So probe stays alive. Reaper goes down. Wait, PattyMac, how old are you? PattyMac, 20. Well, that's unfortunate. Have you tried getting better? It seems like a skill issue, honestly. But all right, so Clem, he got scouted at the very least, but he's adding his third barracks in behind this. And the difference between this build and the build in game number 1 is game 1, Clem went for the 3-1-1 as standard. You get 1-1-1, you get your second and third racks, and that delays your stim and combat shields and concussor shells and all these things until about 7:30. The build that Clem has gone for here by going for 2-1-1 means that his stim is done right around 5:45, 5:30. It does give him more aggressive opportunities. This is, in fact, a variant of this, because there are many ways you can play out of this style, but a variant of this was how we saw Ryung killing all the Protoss players at Katowice. And yes, the meta has evolved, and Protoss players have learned to make things happen. Devin the Dude, 5. plus or minus 2-3 years. No, I'll give you 7 because you type somewhat in a rational fashion. So we'll go 7 plus or minus 2 years. Okay, there we go. Stim just about done. Combat shields on the way, but PattyMac warping in a bunch of stalkers here. He does have his third base on the way, or at least he's setting up to get his third base eventually. But folks, make no mistake about it. This is a 4 gate. Oh, he's gonna drop a couple of deaths to eat the first couple tank shots. Stalkers, they blink in. They get one tank, but it takes a while, and the second tank is gonna go down eventually, but the stalkers are falling as well. And more importantly, that warp prism is dead. PattyMac, he tries to bulldog it, but unfortunately, Clem says no. And slaps it aside. 1 Marine, 2 tanks go down for 4 stalkers. But again, the big deal, that warp prism hits the deck. PattyMac was not prepared for the stim to be done. Which, in fairness, it felt like he probably should have been, considering he did see the 2-1-1 type of setup. But even still, it's not as common in the build or zeitgeist, so I can understand maybe missing the timing, or even just thinking that you can make it happen. And maybe PattyMac could have made this happen with an auxiliary blink with a warp prism and more warpins, but certainly losing that warp prism put the kibosh on anything. And now, well, concussive shells are done. Combat shields done at the same time, and Clem ready for his move out here. Medivacs now joining the fray, so they're going to be able to heal this army up. The damage is not going to be quite as sticky as it once was. Stalkers now running backwards, kiting away. And Clem is losing a couple of Marines here or there, but the big deal is he hasn't lost any Marauders. And Marauders are really what make up the core of this army, so can PattyMac section. Oh, he's going to find a tank here. That's going to be very, very nice. But oh, Clem, quick fingers. He picks it up, and that will not be a dead tank whatsoever. And that means the Stalkers, they take yet more damage. Charges on the way, but it's not done just yet. PattyMac needs a miracle of a hold right now. We're going to have to see if he's going to be able to make it happen. But the siege up on this third base is very scary indeed. And remember, this is a third base that's barely even saturated. PattyMac only has 46 probes. He went all in, or at least heavily committed to the 4-gate. And it did not work out for him, so that means that he will lose this third base. He finds himself supply blocks. Stalkers trying to get on top of things. The Zealots, they have charge now, but that's just a little bit too little too late. Widowmines are now going to burrow as Clem kites back, and oh, PattyMac, how are your splits? They're non-existent. All the Zealots go down, and PattyMac, he falls as well. Clem gets revenge. And now Team Liquid needs one more map. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he is maybe the savior of the Ducklings. It's Vindicta. And in the upper right, in the red, their second ringer. It's Elazer. Yeah, so Big Shrimpin'. This is a good opportunity to go into the format because nothing's going to happen in early game TVZ for the most part. This is a good opportunity to go into the format of the WTL. The regular season, because the playoffs, they get even more complicated. But in the regular season, it's 3 players that are sent out by either team, and they're sent out without knowing what the maps are going to be. So Team Liquid, they just said it's going to be Mana, Clem, and Elazer, and Duckling said, okay, well, it's going to be Dolan, PattyMac, and Vindicta, right? There's going to be our 3, and that's going to be the order they're going to be in. At which point, then they find out what the maps are going to be, which determines the first map of every series, and that's true across all 6 series that are played over the course of the week. So in this case, Waterfall is map 3 on every series played. Is map 1 of the second best of 2 for every series played. And then, of course, whoever loses, they get to pick whatever map is left in the pool. I think there might be a ban, I'm not sure. But they get to pick pretty much any map that is available in the map pool, all the other 6 maps. And then the way it works is the score is just a big best of 7. All maps get played in regulation, of course. So you can't have 6 zeros, you can't have 5 1s, but it is first to 4. First to 4 maps overall. But if you go 5 1 6 0, that is just really good for your map score when we talk about standings. Because the other important thing is whether you go to ace match or not. Because so if you win in regulation, which means you win without having to go to an ace match, without the score being 3-3 at the end of all the best of 2s, you get 3 points, which is the primary ranking. After that, we talk about who's won more maps and win-loss and head-to-head. Those are tiebreakers. But the primary way to stack the teams is by the points they get. So if you win a series in regulation, you don't have to go to an ace match, you get 3 points. If you go to an ace match, you win that, you get 2 points. If you go to an ace match, you lose that, you get 1 point. And if you don't go to an ace match, so you get 1-5, 2-4, 0-6, then you don't get any points. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really makes all the maps matter. Like, if Vindicta wins 2 maps here, which is going to be hard for him, but possible, he was the hero of their qualifier run, and then he can force it to an ace match, and that would guarantee the Ducklings at least 1 map, or 1 point, and they need points right now because they lost to SSLT and IG, which puts them at that puts them very much in danger of elimination, or relegation, excuse me. Because actually, so when we talk about the format, the top 6 teams, top 8 teams, top 7 teams, excuse me, they go into the playoffs at the end of the regular season. Then the next 3 teams 8, 9, and 10, they don't make the playoffs, but they do not get relegated. And then teams 11 and 12, they get relegated, and they have to attempt to qualify again through the qualifier tournament. So it's all sorts of complicated, but it's a lot of fun. As the Reaper is going to get the creep tumor, but does not sacrifice his life for it. Okay. Line of sight, please. The ramp is going to be Vindicta's savior here already on. And hey, as a Zerg player, let me tell you, losing those creep tumors like that is obnoxious. You want to be able to get your creep out from your natural pretty much as quick as possible. And losing that creep tumor early on, it slows you down so much. Now, at least it's not the first creep tumor on the map, but even still. Nice job there from Vindicta's. Now his, there we go. All the way, healed back up once again. Does not really want to dive on top of that additional creep tumor. And, well, the powerful play goes on. Excellent. I just got approval. So I got a laptop for several reasons. Part of it is production stuff. Part of it is to allow me to produce content when I'm traveling, when I'm at Valencia, and part of it is for PhD work, right? So I justify it because I'm buying it for every aspect of my life, not just as a second production machine. But part of what that allows me to do is have 2 accounts in a lobby at the same time. Which means, and you'll see this in EPT Korea later on tonight. I've done a lot of work today in the last 24 hours of making sure it works properly. But I can do player perspective, picture-in-picture. I can have live look-ins on other important matches as they happen. Like, I'm very excited about all this. I'm not totally sure how I want to do the implementation. Like, we're going to be messing around with it for the next little bit of time. But anyways, folks, I just got the approval to have that second account in lobbies, which is very exciting. Okay, Vindicta is going for Hellion Banshee, which I don't think should surprise anyone. It's a good safe opening on Waterfall. It keeps you safe against roaches, which is super important. And it gives you map control. Banshees, it feels like recently they've started to get a little bit more damage as Zergs maybe get a little bit greedier. So for now, well, I'm not going to say for now, but Vindicta has a lot of map control right now. Of course, Elazer, he's got his Evo chambers on the way, battling speed, he's got his lair done, and that does mean that he will be able to have detection for these Banshees, but for right now, there is not a lot of detection, but there are 9 queens on the map, 7 queens at the front line, and yeah, you're not breaking through that with a bunch of Banshees. VHT 1986, I will be at Atlanta. I was actually given the opportunity to run the B stream, but it's the first LAN in North America in 3 years, over 3 years. And unfortunately, they will not let me run the B stream from this. We asked, Deadfest and I asked to be able to do it from the show floor. And that's just because they won't have enough production equipment. And I will not, there is 0 chance that I'm able to ship my production rig, my production environment from New Hampshire down to Atlanta. And even if I could, it would not be cost effective in any way, shape, or form. And they just won't have enough equipment to be able to allow us to run the B stream from the floor. Yeah, because again, everything, the main broadcast will be in Sweden. So no, I will just be there. I'll be producing content for myself and trying to make something happen. But look at this Baneling bus coming in from Elazer right as Baneling speed completes. And is Vindicta going to be ready for this? He's got Marines, but they're just going to get exploded immediately. There we go. Second round is going to be able to kite backwards. Baneling's now into the mineral line, but they're pulling away. And honestly, if it's only 5, yeah, that was not really what Elazer was looking for. It's only 5 workers going down. And yeah, a couple Marines, but that's army for army. And well, it probably pays for itself. Hey, Rootfly. How's it going? El Mouthful. Sí, porque hablo español un poquito. Vindicta's got a timing though. He's got his upgrades done, and Elazer, his upgrades are a little bit further back, but Vindicta doesn't really have much of an army right now. Again, he did go for that 3cc play off the Hellion Banshee, which means that you take a while to start to advance into your production. So Habats are now going to get morphed in 6, 7, 8, 9 Marines on the way at a time, drilling claws as well, but Vindicta is not going to be fully online from a production perspective for like another minute or so. In fact, he's trying to take this game late, which I don't hate, because this is Waterfall, and Waterfall is a map that very much favors Terran in the late game. Zerg just runs out of bases. But he's also playing against Elazer, and I'm not sure that I would want to give Elazer just unfettered free reign on the map for a solid 15 minutes before you try to end the game. At Hapla? Ah, habla. B, not a P. All right. So, Elazer's got 4 bases. We got that 5th one on the way, and this is where things start to get a little scary for the Zerg. And, well, he's got a 6th base on the way as well. But these outlying bases, the 11 o'clock base, the 3 o'clock base that we see Elazer taking right now, these are the bases where it starts to get very hard for the Zerg to hold. Getting creep spread out there consistently is a problem. There are a lot of high grounds nearby. And depending on where the Terran decides to take their 4th base, they become pretty pushable. We're gonna have to see how much damage this drop gets in. That's a decent amount of spores. I don't know if they're any more a little bit north of the screen, but certainly Vindicta is shying away from that one as he's now starting to get close to max out. But this surround coming in from Elazer is going to smash him. One tank shot, Widowmine shot, excuse me. It gets a bunch of Banes, but even still, this got nothing done. You're gonna drop in the mineral line, but well, Baneling should be able to deal with that one fairly quickly. But the Banshee actually is going to be able to target down a lot of these Banes, and that could be a bit of a problem. Hey, Kybrit. It would take like 2013 Scarlet to get creep spread in the middle left, as this drop is still not really finding all that much, and this Banshee needs to... Where's our Overseer? Elazer, please. There we go. Okay, it's run out of energy. Elazer spent so much transfuse energy to get to keep those queens alive to kill the Banshee. Like, to have an observer as though that's a nice one of mine. 22 kills. That run by dead before the gate even starts. Lings now, you're gonna have to drag them down. Oh my god! So many Lings will go down, but even still, Vindicta does have to back his way up. But still, the drop on the bottom right is starting to find a little bit of value. 13 drones have fallen. In fact, this base now under threat. And Elazer, I mean, he hasn't had to do much all this game, but the moment Vindicta's turned the taps on, in fact, Vindicta turning on the taps in a tremendous fashion knocks his opponent down to 5 bases. But the moment Vindicta's turned the taps on this game, his Widowmines are just... We saw Widowmines get like 60 kills in the span of 30 seconds. That's horrifying. Sorry, as a Zerg player, that's horrifying. If you enjoy Terran players, maybe less so. But now Vindicta, he's got his 2-2, 3-3 on the way, adding in that 5th base, the Ghost Academy. Oh, down. Okay, the Widowmines are actually... This is unacceptable damage. This is 3 Widowmines in a row that have killed great big splotches. 26 kills on that Widowmine. Meanwhile, Liberator gets a little bit more. But Elazer is... We don't see at the pro level Widowmines get this much done. You can do the whole position micro, you go and you split off, but Elazer just running in, the seeker to target, the tracker goes out, and Elazer loses his lunch. And by the way, that Widowmine didn't even go down. Widowmine Burrow, though, or excuse me, Baneling Burrow is not going to get really much of anything. Elazer not quite paying attention, and honestly, maybe there wasn't enough there anyways for him to consider it worthwhile, but now maybe Vindicta kites backwards, and there we go. Okay, that gets all the Marines, and now Vindicta's got to kite up. He's got to pick up, run away. But, well, he's got a Widowmine, and there we go. All the Banelings are dead, but really it's the Lings that are scary at this point because this is Mass Marauder. Widowmines continue to find value, and Vindicta trading very well in this game. Do friendly fire add to the kill counter? I'm not sure, Big Shrimpin. Resources lost in this game. 5,000 more minerals, a couple thousand more gas. The Banelings, though, this is a great surround on a Vindicta, but look, the supply tells another story. Vindicta's at 40 army supply. The question, though, is where is that army? Because the Lings, the Banes, they are swarming now into the natural. But again, the Widow Mines are just killing everything. This is ridiculous. I mean, we look at the Elazer right now. He does not have a happy look on his face. Yeah, he got a couple SCVs and a couple, I mean, two. But these Widow Mines are just... They're disgusting. Yeah, I'm like 2.5 hours from Montreal, Inflatable Wolfie. I go to Dartmouth, so I'm in New Hampshire. And I'm very sad that DreamHack Montreal is not a thing this year because it's a lot easier for me to attend. A lot cheaper for me to attend. Well, oh no, Elazer. Widow memes, folks. Widow Mine is a tier 7 Raid Shadow Legend. Yes, exactly. Except it has much better animations and is not quite as is not quite as predatory of a economic structure as. Now Vindicta's trying to put pressure on the right side, and Elazer, by the way, still does not have his 3/3, so Widow Mines get good connections as they do. This army from Vindicta is just, it feels almost impossible for Elazer to fight into. It's up, Vindicta's double the army supply of Elazer at this point. The Banelings, they come rolling in. Queen's now getting knocked down. Burrow Banes, actually, they equalize things just a little bit, but it's still double army supply. Yes, Vindicta lost 20, but he's got money behind this. I mean, so too technically does Elazer, but he's just not. Is he short on larva? He's got 1.6k, 1.4k, and he just can't spend it. I think he's lacking the larva here because the Queens have had to fight elsewhere. So yeah, that's got to be what it is. He just cannot produce with the money that he has, which means that he's just not able to max out all that well. Vindicta trying to find his way in, and this Widow Mine, what up, Burrow? Kill him all, kill all the Lings, do it, but he's not going to be able to get the Burrow in time. The Ling run by. He's probably going to get something done, but actually STVs are pulled in time, and again, it's 3-3 versus 2-2, so the Ling's not really getting much. Widow Mines go off, clean up the rest of it. Now the Banelings on the right side, trying to take advantage of Vindicta, maybe being a little bit distracted, but Vindicta, he's absolutely not distracted. The Widow Mines, oh god, they get all the Banes, or at least they get a lot of them. And once again, we're in this situation where it's a lot easier now for Vindicta to take the fight. Elazer losing absolute scads of units. And yeah, Vindicta's not able to win the game just yet. He loses a medevac, but this army on the left side, Elazer's had to build so many spines to make sure he can try to hold that position despite the damage he's taking. The Widow Mine again! Okay, well, that's not going to be as bad. Finally, we see one where Elazer kites it out properly. But now this pressure on the north side, Elazer can't deal with it. The Widow Mines and the Liberators in the bio means that Elazer is going to lose this base. He does not get his opponents to the bottom right side. And it feels like we're just starting to see Elazer bleed out ever so slowly at this point. There we go. The base is dead. Liberators just killing whatever's on the ground. And the Queens, they can't even get into that range. The medevacs will fall on the right side. And again, random burrowed Banelings are going to try to make something happen here, but the army's coming where the Banelings are not. Elazer's going to try to hope that he retreats through the position, but it will not matter. Vindicta with the Widow Mines makes everything happen, and Elazer has to tap out. Vindicta, he's one map away from forcing this to an ace match. All right, folks, let's see what happens here in the bottom right. In the blue, he's up 1. Can he make it 2? He is for the Ducklings. It's Vindicta. And his opponent in the upper left in the red. He's down a map. He only needs 1 to make sure that Liquid wins the week. It is Elazer. Ah, that's fair, Inflatable Wolfie. Also, Rain Bro, thanks so much for the follow. Are you a fan of StarCraft 2 Rain? Sorry, are you a fan of StarCraft 2 Protoss Rain? StarCraft 2 Terran Rain? Rain that comes from the sky, because we're all Hydro homies here, or well, I guess StarCraft 2 Rain is also StarCraft 1 Rain. So yeah. It's kind of impressive if you think about it. We've had very few repeated names in the StarCraft professional scene. Really, the only one I can think of actually is Rain and Rain, the early season GSL Terran, and then, you know, one of the most powerful defensive Protoss to play the game before he went back to Brood War in Rain the Protoss. But I don't think we've ever had any other. I mean, you had Foxer, who was fake Boxer, but that was before Boxer went over to StarCraft 2, I think, when MKP was playing as Boxer. But other than that, that's the only thing I can think of. And who knows? Maybe I'm missing something from the early days. I only started watching in 2013. Ah, yes, Hero and Hero. They're different. They're so different in my mind because one is capital H hero and one is lowercase h hero. And in my mind, that is enough to make a difference, apparently. So game one was the story of the Widow Mine. Multiple Widow Mines from Vindicta getting multiple shots off that each got like 20 kills. Yes, Hero and Hero were both Protoss. You had Liquid Hero, capital H Hero, who won winter tournaments for Team Liquid back when back in like 2012, 2013. You had the winter of Hero, and then you had the summer of Tasia. And Tasia was horrible in the winter, and it used to be Hero was horrible in the summer. And unfortunately for Hero, Tasia maintained that form multiple summers, and Hero only had about 2 winters of Hero, maybe even just the one. And then he fell off the map. Ooh, Vindicta, greedy boy here in this game number 2. I keep wanting to say game 3 because like it's the last game of the series, but greedy boy in this game number 2, where he's going 3cc off this. And yes, Cosmic Sapphire is a big map, but it's kind of a map that Zergs tend to like in the late game. Yeah, it only has 6 maps really aside, but with how wide open it is, Zergs can tend to take much more cost-effective trades than they normally would and end the game before it starts to get super crazy. Yeah, I got so excited when Tasia came back from the military, went back to the GSL. And ooh, wait, is this Blue Flame? Yes, it is. All right, 3cc into Blue Flame Hellion. What a way to roll the dice here in this final game in this series and maybe send us to an ace match. Things they're going to try to find the win. They're not going to see much of anything here. And there we go. Okay. The factory drops. And the question after this, by the way, is whether Vindicta opts into mech. He's a decent mech player, or whether this is Blue Flame into bio. And you might say, well, Bayo, this is double factory. Of course, it's mech. It's not a guarantee. You can. There are definitely builds where you go Blue Flame into bio behind it, much like you go Battlecruiser into bio behind it. But make no mistake about it. If this does not get the damage that Vindicta is looking for, he's going to be a very sad boy. He does need to find value, and as long as it's only Lings that are getting pumped, there is very much a world where this happens. Vindicta's going to knock down the creep tumor. Nice positioning there. He saw where it went down and just killed the rocks to make sure that everything went down. And remember, Blue Flame is a very quick upgrade. Elazer is going to have... Actually, he doesn't even have an observer on this side of the map. He's going to have no inkling of what's happening until the Hellions dive across the map with Blue Flame, and he really is not going to know until the Blue Flame arrives. So Hellions now coming out 3 at a time here. And remember, Vindicta's hiding them. He does not want his opponent to know what is happening. And by the way, this is going to be mech. As we do see the additional gases getting added in, but will Elazer be able to sniff this out? He's got a Baneling Nest on the way, and that's a pretty early Baneling Nest, to be fair. And that can deal with things. He's getting a little bit suspicious because he's only seen Hellions. The Blue Flame is now done, and the Army of Vindicta running out of the other side of the map. He's got a 3rd Hellion behind this, and yes, there is Mag Field Accelerator, so it'll be battle mech into traditional mech. But it really is all about this initial hammer of the Terran and how much damage it can get done. So there we go. Now there's going to be the scout that Elazer needs to see. The Banshees, or excuse me, the Queens are starting to get damage on one. The Lings, though, they're just going to evaporate immediately here. But actually, wait, they don't have a really good surround. More and more Queens arrive, and the Baneling's morphing in as well. The Blue Flame gets nothing done. Half the Hellions die to the Queens and the Lings, and Vindicta is cannot be happy about that whatsoever. League is kind of still a thing, Rootfly, where it's no longer weekly into a monthly tournament where Maynard's casting. Instead, they are a bunch of interesting format invitationals that the League Patreon has been sponsoring on Wardy's channel. So like they had a one Zerg, one Terran, one Protoss round robin group set up, and a Foreigner versus Korean tournament, I think, and there was some other stuff. But yeah, it's not the League that you may be familiar with. As the Hellions, they dive in, and really, they don't do much here. Lasers on 4 bases. He got his 5th base on the way. His creep spread is halfway across the map, which is pretty much about what you could expect by 7 minutes. And the only interesting thing is he's going actually pure Ling against this, pure Ling Bane. And that is a... Okay, there we go. He's adding the Rochefort and the Infestation Pit. Okay. To say that's a little bit of a ballsy play when you go mass Ling Bane like that. Yeah, if you get the surrounds, everything dies, but if you don't, Hellbat or Hellions just kite all that out and everything dies. But Elazer does have the confirmation now that this is going to be mech out of this nut biome. Or a 2v tournament, or a 2v2 tournament. You're right. I wish we did more with 2v2. I think it's a really fun matchup, but part of the problem is it lags. Like the StarCraft engine, you're kind of okay on 2v2, but certainly anything more than that is to get super freaking laggy. Cyclones now going to try to lock onto these queens, but transfuses are a powerful drug, and Cyclones are really not going to get all that much done. In fact, Queen's trying to kill the Cyclones. They're not really going to get a Cyclone either, but a Hellion will fall. And 1-1 is just about done. Grumpage, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that. But okay. But the Queen's transfusing here, that really, they're not getting a lot done. Or, excuse me, the Cyclones are not getting a lot done, but the lock-ons, there we go. The Queens are out of energy. So now a bunch of Queens will fall. 4 Queens for 5 Hellions and a Cyclone. That's a little bit better there, Elazer. Grumpage, are you saying that that your partner is having a baby in 6 months, or are you making a joke about something I said and I missed it? Okay, now we got Roach, Ling Bane. No Ravagers just yet, but that really is because we haven't seen any tanks. And tanks are that deciding factor of, okay, well, yeah, you probably need to get some Ravagers now. Lings go in, and now Elazer's not going to take nearly as much damage from these Widow Mines as he did previously. 1 Ling each time. And no, a couple more Baneleys here. Drilling Claws are on the way. Vindicta is like the one meching player that does this, where you just gets a bunch of Widow Mines. And against a mech, when mech is on the way. Well, it just makes breaking into that a little bit harder. But Elazer, he's playing much more attention to the Widow Mines this time than last time. And how many tanks do we have? I don't know how powerful of a defensive position. Oh, congratulations then, Grumpage. Okay, here comes the army of Vindicta, or Elazer coming in from both sides. He's going to bust the wall down pretty quickly. Widow Mines get decent trades, and there we go. That's a lot of Banelings going down. But the tanks, they are now exposed. And the Cyclones, they got to get the lock-ons. Roach is going to try to put them in a corner, force them away, so the lock-ons don't really matter. But this fight it's going well enough. But that Widow Mine is actually going to be fantastic. Knocks down the detection as well, so the Cloaked Widow Mines will continue to cause problems, but more and more Roaches on the way, and Cyclones can only kite so far. All the tanks, they seem to be done, and this is just trading out, because, folks, what do we see on the way? Greater Spire. That is giving me the next round of tech for Elazer at this point, but pretty decent hold for Vindicta to start. He will be able to stay alive. Would it be better to morph Hellbats? Maybe a couple, but not really. VHT 1986, because that army that you have wants to be kiting backwards. Now, it's a lesser amount of Lings that survived. I don't know. Maybe the Hellbats you want to buffer for the tanks, but so where does Vindicta go from here? He does have 4 bases. He's on 80 workers. His economy's not bad, and his army is starting to significantly increase the complexity. Now he's got more tanks. He's got Liberators on the way, and the important thing, he's on 4 bases. He's on 8 gas, which means that he can start to move into Ghost Tech, and that is where life starts to become rather complicated. So here comes the army of Elazer once again. Widow Mines are going to burrow. Oh, they get the shots. But the Liberators will fall on the other side. Even still, though, a bunch of Lings, a bunch of Banelings fall, and that is not what you're looking for. Is there transfuses on the Observers, the Overseers, because why not? Banelings, they look to find those connections, and maybe a couple at the end of the day. There we go. Hellions will fall, but again, you're trading minerals for gas. And we don't have any brood. So the Greater Spire is done, but I don't know that we have any Broodlords made. Yeah, no, Elazer just sticking on his Lingbane Roach Ravager for the most part here. But again, as the Queen or as the Ghosts start to get added to this composition, it feels like you got to go maybe a little bit further. But maybe there's the flip side. When you start to add Ghosts, those are things that don't deal with Lingbane nearly as well. They kill the Lings well enough, but not. That's in a bio perspective. Here, you only get one eBay eventually, and that's for the armor. The bonus, yeah, they do bonus damage to light units. So those one of mine kill off a Queen, I think. But they don't kill. They don't have any attack upgrades. They don't really kill Lings all that quickly. I think they 3-shot instead of 2-shot, and so you don't have that powerful anti-Ling force that the Ghosts can sometimes provide. They are purely there for their spell casting. So again, Lings, Banes, Roaches, Ravagers, all the fun stuff, they try to find their way in. And this is a pretty undefended position. Liberator gets biled down. We're going to see the tanks fall here as well. The Banelings take a massive shot at the end. And that should be enough. Now we're going to see a bunch of snipes get spammed on everything, but the Ghosts have to cancel those snipes. Even still, a bunch of Ravagers fall. Elazer has to back up once again. 54 more Lings, 19 more Roaches on the way. And Vindicta now, his 2-2 is done in about 45 seconds. Does he choose to get aggressive here? I know you're making a joke root fly, but I'm not totally missing it. I'm assuming it's based off the CCI acronym, but I guess that's not it. Anyways, Cyclones, they're going to find a bunch of Queens here. And the creep, though, that's the important thing. The creep should get up. In fact, the Queens will survive. And, ooh, cut off at the pass. The Cyclones, they're going to fall. At least a couple of them. But Lings are not quite as fast. I mean, they're marginally faster than the Cyclones, but not really enough to get the surround super easily. As this Ravager on the left side will get taken down, and Vindicta is starting to lock down his position. And most importantly, folks, look at the bottom left. Vindicta has the gold, and Elazer does not seem to be aware of it. So if Vindicta can even mine half the gold base. Weird. If Vindicta can even mine half the gold base, he's going to be in a wonderful position in this game. And, well, for right now, he is certainly mining that out as well as he can. Widowmine runs. That's a dead Widowmine. But I feel like Elazer has to transition his tech. It doesn't feel like he's getting what he needs anymore. Now, he does have a big bank. And he is maxed out. But again, it doesn't feel like he's getting what he needs. He's got 2-2 now. So it does Vindictus this 2-2 timing. And Elazer's going to have to win multiple fights. I don't know that he can win just the one as the Ghosts are now moving forward. I don't know that they have Cloak necessarily. They got to kite backwards. And the rich gas base has been taken out by Vindicta at the start here. So Elazer's gas bank is going to start to get pressure just a little bit more. So the Ghosts run forward looking for personal cloaking, sniking down a bunch of Ravagers. But how far do you go here, Vindicta? How far off creep do you want to maraud? And it looks like he's going to wait for the creep to recede. He's not going to go super crazy about things, and that's fair. Now here comes the army once again. Hellbat's on the creep tumors. The spine, or on Hellbat's on top of the drones. The spine is a decent defense here, and now Elazer's well aware that this is happening, so the SCVs have to run away. Banelings, they crack the base, but the Widowmines, they're going to be able to clean up the rest of this burrowed Widowmines, though. They were a problem for Vindicta earlier on, but not enough to make the difference. Yeah, Trang's Twitch. The games happened this morning. I do not a rebroadcast because I'm casting them for the first time, but I do a North American broadcast of the WTL matches most Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey, Grumpet, thanks so much for the tier 1 sub 6 months in a row. And again, congratulations on the upcoming kid. As now the Banes, they come forward here. Vindicta's just left tanks on a bit of an island. He's going to try to escape with the Ghost at the very least. But that is a lot of the complexity of Vindicta's armies. The Widowmines are not getting the 30, 40, 50 units that they were getting in the previous game. Ooh, maybe big tank shot, though, but the armor actually keeping things alive, so we're not going to see the one shot on the Banes. But a bunch of Queens are going to fall, and maybe that is going to unlock a push for Vindicta? I don't think so. And the big deal, by the way, it's only about 400 gas differential in the resources lost here between Vindicta and Elazer. So yes, he's mining less, or yes, he's lost more minerals, but anti-Mac and Mac players both, they don't care about the minerals nearly as much as they care about the gas. So you're able to get some run buys in, and you're able to keep the gas losses pretty equivalent. You're kind of happy about that. exactly train switch, and they will be, at least some of them will be on my YouTube later on. The Invictus gaming matches, they don't go up for the most part because they just don't get views. But at least any of the matches that are good or against that will draw views, they will go up on my YouTube afterwards. This is Vindicta running away from the idea of having a +2 time. He's got his 3/3 on the way now. In fact, his +2 attack, +3 attack is just about done. What are we going to see Elazer do with his neural now? That's part of this is just rounding out his late game composition, as he's not going to get this bottom left base. And a nuke goes down as well. Multitasking is not your thing, so, well, yes, I can understand why having a kid would stress your multitasking, Grumpage. But that nuke will not land. Vindicta, though, he has moved into the next round. I feel like he's transitioning into a tech that counters what he thinks his opponent's doing, but not what his opponent actually is doing. Yes, 3/3 Thors are powerful, but we're not at 3/3 just yet. And there are no Broodlords to deal with. This is still a ground Zerg composition. And if it's a bunch of Roach Ravager Bane with Neurals, the Thors are their own worst enemies. I don't think Vindicta has optimized... Yes, you can say drop a Thor and try to kill a base, but I don't feel like Vindicta has optimized his composition properly. That's just a dead Thor. He didn't even save it. And, okay. Keep your eyes peeled on these infestors, folks. Neural for EMPs. Neural for... Oh, hey! Folks, by the way, exclamation mark Stormgate Nexus, as that account is now following me. There we go. We're good. Somebody Grumpage and I have been working on for just a little bit. As Banelings, they run in. Fight coming in, and the Thor, again, their own worst enemy, trying to target down what they can. And, gotta make sure the tanks don't kill the Thor, but there we go. The Biles should kill this at the end of things once it has gotten the damage that Elazer wants. So now he's on 6k, 6k. Vindicta's bank is really starting to get shattered here. Apparently I'm able to add VIP, but okay, Elazer now is going to break down another base from Vindicta. At this point, Vindicta feels like he's going to have one army, and that is going to be about it. He still has not been able to take this upper right base. The Lings have been burrowed, and, well, he's going to return, and he's going to snipe down some of these roaches. He's got one army. He's mining 1,000 minerals a minute. He's mining 500 gas a minute. He just does not have a lot. And even bringing this observer means Ghost is going to go. Oh, Vindicta tries to be cute with it, but it doesn't work. He loses the Ghost as well. And now the cursing numbers on his production tab, on the bottom third, they're telling the story here. As aliens now, they're going to find their way into Elazer's extra base. But Vindicta just got to max out and go. He's got 3/3. His army is powerful. But if the infestors get the neurals that they're looking for, that power of that army will be turned against it. So Hellbats on the right side are going to get dealt with by a bunch of these Ravagers. Linger out, counterattack on the other side, knocking down a lot of tanks of the Warfan. Meanwhile, Widowmine does kill off a lot of the Ling run by, so that is something. Seems like Elazer once again is going to lose the rich gas base. But, oh, these Cyclones, they're somewhat... Yeah, there we go. That's a great surround. 4 of them are going to get trapped in a corner, and yeah, maybe one of them will escape, but no, it's just going to go down here as well. And Vindicta maybe taking this as an opportunity to run through to finally get a position, and that is indeed a scary position for Elazer to attack, and so he's just not going to do so. He's going to go and run in and kill off a Vindicta base and kill off another base, and Banelings don't even have to connect to that one. And I mean, 3/3 cracklings, these planetaries, they fall very easily indeed. But I want to point this out, by the way. Vindicta, excellent hold position. Stop command on his entire army to make sure he doesn't batter down the Thor. But, well, the Thor is going to go down anyways, but Vindicta's lost 2 bases. His economy literally, almost literally 0. 55 minerals a minute. So I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. He's got to make it happen with this army, with this push right here. And the scans are good. They're keeping the infestors back, but the neural goes down on the Thors anyways, and there's just not enough of an army. Not enough of an army close enough to any way, shape, or form get on top of these infestors. The tanks are falling. Yes, Elazer loses a base, but unfortunately, for those of you cheering for an ace match, for Vindicta fans, Vindicta does lose this game. And Elazer, not looking too happy about it. He lost game 1, and game 2 was pretty close. But at the end of the day, Team Liquid will prevail. They get a map that a series that they sorely won. This was Elazer's map.